All right, looks like we are live again. Apologize for the computer technical errors there. Um, Welcome to this month's copy critique, and we're going to start with Brett's. And so we had sort of given an intro already, but Pete, do you want to go on with what you were saying about what you'd like to see here in the headline?
What I'd like to see in the headline is more specificity. So either defining what likable is. I'm not sure if that's enough, right? So what does being more likable give you? So Jared gave the example of how to win friends and influence people, right? That's essentially how to be more likable, but it's providing a specific example of what that likability gives you, right, in the headline, or that in that case it's a book, right? Um, That said, it's probably pretty hard to define what likable means in the workplace, and it might take a long time to figure that out. So, or it might, you know, I was trying to think of words, like specific things to replace likable with, and it was difficult, right? So maybe one way to make it more powerful is to focus in on like the steps and the being part to make it more specific, like and that would be like habits of highly effective people style, right? So instead of 3 steps to being more likable, it's um, 3 habits of likable people in the workplace or something like that. I think that adds more specificity to it. That's basically what I'm looking for, to have it stand out and say, oh my gosh, I need that, right? um, I don't know if you guys followed that, but that's what I'm thinking with this.
It does. I think what you're looking for is more of a vision of the outcome, because
That's exactly it. Yep.
if I'm likable, my dog loves me, and I wish everyone else loved me as much as my dog, but that doesn't do a lot for me in the rest of my life. So am I going to get ahead career wise, relationship wise, financially? How is being more likable? What's the outcome? I think that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, that's where I was going with it. It's what does this do for me? And if we can do that by saying, by putting highly likable people in there, or likable people, like 3 habits of likable this type of person, right? I think that helps show an outcome, because they say, "Oh my gosh, I want to be that person." Or if we can make likable more specifically defined, I think that does it as well.
Maybe the word influential,
Mm.
like going off of what you just said, Pete, like 3 characteristics of highly influential people or something like that.
In the
Because
workplace.
influential is a lot more descriptive than likable.
Yeah, well, I think I'm just thinking about likability in the workplace. I know it's like a big trend right now. I don't really function in workplace environments, but it's like likable people, likable people are more likely to get hired. They're more likely to have people come up and talk to them at work, be part of a team, have a manager recognize their accomplishments. They're more likely to get feedback and not just be like left out in the, I think those are all trends. And I don't know if Brett's on here and he can confirm, but I think those are like trends in the workplace, right?
Yeah, that's actually what she talks about in the intro to it. And we did
So,
test it across all of our social networks for different potential lead magnets. And this was the so people are more interested.
yeah, I think everybody wants to be likable. I in like to get hired and that sort of thing right now, and I think those are the reasons why. It's like they're going to get feedback, like the HR person they have to talk to is going to love them. It's like charisma gets you everything at work. Like it's not enough to be good at your job anymore. I mean, that's actually what, um, but maybe that's something, like you could hit on in like a subhead. Like it's not good enough to be good at your job anymore. You also have to be these 3 things or whatever.
Is her audience primarily professionals, or is it a combination of people who are more maybe entrepreneurial or looking for self-improvement, plus the more professional group?
Yeah, I mean, for the main webpage, it's a variety of people. It's generally people who want to level up in life and move forward, but they all YouTube video or the kind of top of funnel assets across the internet.
Okay, so at what level, when you look at your avatar, what level of success are they at now? Are they mid-level management? Are they aspiring to be managers? Are they top
Yeah, I'd
level
say
executives?
more mid-level management aspiring to move up, or like new young entrepreneurs. It's the people who are already into self-development.
Okay. Any other thoughts on the titles, guys?
Nothing here. I mean, it's hard to say because just if likable resonates with the audience, then it's fine, you know. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the audience is the is the final say.
Exactly. And then I think that with the headline for the opt-in, I think we're going to be thinking the same thing. Would you agree?
I'd agree with that. Yeah. I mean, any way we can get the, so not just likable as the outcome, the end point that they want to be at. Any way we can get that into these headlines, I think that's the.
Okay, and then going down, grab our free 3 steps to being more likable audio training. Learn the skills I've taught 24 million people online and what Google, Dove, and Microsoft have paid me $1,000 to teach, including the 5 phrases that will make you instantly more likable. I think same thing there, outcome. My favorite likability strategy for introverts and the secret trick for never running out of things to say.
Yeah, it's specific things. So like instead of my favorite likability strategy for introverts, it's how introverts can use this one likability strategy to specific outcome, right? And then specific outcome is fill in the blank, right? So how introverts can use this one simple likability strategy to make friends at work overnight, you know, or something like that.
And then if we go down, I think we can say the same thing here.
Yeah, these are all pretty close.
Yeah. I'm not sure what these words are. Are these just like brainstorming, Brett?
Yeah, so it's my like me brainstorming the bottom.
Okay. Okay. I think you've got a good start here. If you can just get a little bit more clear on what the outcome is and be more concise in the communication of that, I think that would help a lot.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Just like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Jared or Pete, any other thoughts?
I don't have any really. I mean, you could also do this in the grab my free steps to being more likable part. So that focuses a lot on her, and I know that they likely already know who she is. I'm assuming, and they know she's a big deal. So it's nice to highlight that. But I'm just thinking, you know, grab my free 3 steps to be more likable, and learn the essential people skills I've taught 24 million people online, so you can do these things, right?
I guess that's my question. Is that line? Is that a good credibility strategy, or should I try a different angle?
I think it's an okay credibility strategy, but I think at this point, you can incorporate the credibility strategy, but I would also highlight what the 3 steps are going to do for people more, because at the end of the day, like if I'm seeing this as a Facebook ad, and you know, like if I've heard of her, that's one thing, and like I'm excited about getting it, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, Tony Robbins wants me to have this free thing, awesome, you know. But that type of credibility you're not going to build on an opt-in page, and most people are going to act out of their own self-interest versus any sort of credibility you give from her, right? At least I think in this case, unless you lead with some really strong proof thing, right? So unless you just lead with it.
So are we saying where it says grab my free 3 steps being likable audio training, so you can like where it is.
Yeah, and then make the 24 million people an afterthought to that. I would lead with what you're going to get out of it, and then say, you know, I've taught these to employees at Google, you know, Dove, Intel, and, you know, 24 million others just like you or something.
The 24 million that in specifically doesn't do anything for me because like my head, oh, okay, you have a YouTube channel. Like, cool. You know, it's, I get the thought behind it, learn the skills. I've taught 24 million people, but to me, the more impressive part is that she's been paid a shit ton of money to go and teach it to these big corporations. But that's just me again. And am I your target market? Probably not. So.
So yeah, that's what I'm thinking there. That's the only other thing I had.
Okay.
is just
Brett, any
get a little
questions?
bit-
We're good? All right.
No,
Perfect.
that's good. Thank you. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Excellent. So we'll remove Brett. And then up next, we will bring on Loveland. All right, Loveland, I just promoted you to a panelist. So if you want to open your mic, we will be hearing you momentarily. Looks like you're still muted. We can see you, but
Okay, I'm
oh,
unmuted.
there we go. Excellent. Okay. So what we have here, it looks like we have a an email.
It's just an email for an invitation for a discovery call. They have to go to, they're going directly to an application form.
Okay, and how did they get to this email?
There are just people on her list already.
Okay, and so this is an email that she's sending out to her list on a regular basis? Or like, not this email, but she's emailing her list on a regular basis?
Yeah, she's emailing them once a week right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
and do you have any idea how responsive her list is to her emails?
Actually, no, I don't.
Okay,
No,
Okay.
if they are.
and then what can you tell us about her target market?
They're single women over the age of 45, recently divorced or widowed.
Okay. Perfect. Any other questions before we get into this, guys?
Nothing.
Okay. So subject line, she found true love at 61.
My issue is the thing that I have the most problems with is writing subject lines and headlines. So is that even a good subject line? Would it be better if it was made some kind of a question or something? I don't know.
Is my question to you would be, when you think about the subject line, is it going to resonate with the target audience, right? So obviously if you want something that's just like an immediate go-to, you think benefit and curiosity, right? That's the easiest subject line to write. At least for me, it's just like, okay, benefit to the reader and curiosity. Does this fulfill that? Well, it could. She found true love at 61 could be benefit curiosity, depending on the target market. So if the target market is somebody who's looking for love in their 60s or 50s or 70s, then I would assume that this would resonate with them. Maybe even like she found true love at 61, here's how, or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that breaks up the story too much that this has going for it. But if the target market is this person, then I think that it would resonate with them.
Okay.
So here's what I do with subject lines if you're having trouble with them. Similar idea. So you're doing benefit curiosity, but there are a few specific places where I go to try to find inspiration that's going to make people open the email. I look at three things. I say, how can I make this controversial? How can I make it shocking? Or how can I make it an oddity or a weird thing? Right? So, I guess there's a fourth one. How can I make it specific, so specific that people say, oh my gosh, I have to learn that, specific or a secret? And those are just sort of off of my head. They're not hard and fast rules. But if we wanted to make this controversial, we would say something like, that goes against the grain. So whatever this audience is thinking, like they're thinking, okay, I need to be on Match.com or something. And the headline would be, why you should never use Match.com after age 61, right? and that might be controversial if that's what they're thinking. I don't know what they're thinking, right? I don't know this avatar at all, right? So it would go against the grain, right? And it would have some sort of specific thing. The way to shock somebody would be something like, I'm trying to think of the best way to do it with this specific example. But you would say something like, God, I can't even think about how to do it. But I mean, do you get I would have to think about it for, like 20 or 30
Yeah, I
minutes.
understand what you're talking about though.
So, or like the weird place, the unexpected place. You'll never guess the unexpected place where she found, true love. And it's like at 61, or something like that. And you make that more succinct over time. But that's what I usually go for. And it tends to work pretty well, at least in the markets I work with. Just like controversy, shock, weird things. That's what I default to when I'm like, how do I make this an interesting headline, or an interesting subject line specifically, maybe not a headline. So, but
would work in this market just because you get into sort of this lull of, it's such a chore to do it that you don't want to think about it, you don't want to deal with it, but then the shocking headline sort of breaks you out of that.
Yeah, it's like even shock would be like, no one ever thought she would find true love at 61, not even her, in parentheses, it'd be like, not even her, and it's like, that's enough to make people say, yeah, okay, like, and it's like this miraculous, shocking story of how she, that's what they think they're going to read. And it doesn't matter what the story after that is, as long as you pay it off enough, right? To have it make sense, it's fine.
One thing you could do if you have trouble with subject lines is figure out what magazines this target market is into. Like I bet a 50-year-old woman that's interested in health is probably reading prevention. So figure out what magazines or what videos they're watching, whatever it is, and then you can go onto magazines.com or Amazon magazines and just look up, read the bullets that are on the front of them and see how they're writing to get these people into the magazine itself. Because the crossover there is just, it's 1-to-1. You could probably even swipe some bullets on the front of these magazines and use them for subject lines.
Loveland, I think what would be a great magazine source to use for swiping for this, it's, when you go to the grocery store, it's called like Woman's Day or something like this, and Dr. Oz is on it I know half of the time. They have excellent headlines, and I think they're headlines that would really appeal strongly to this market. So if this is the market you're going to focus on, I would probably either subscribe to it or, at my grocery store, there aren't enough stores around this area, so the lines go like halfway down the aisle. To pick it, it's awful. Pick it up on the way, as you're standing through the check line or whatever.
Because right now I'm working with 2 coaches who are in the same market.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you a story about a client I worked with. Rochelle got married in her mid-40s. Her husband was a narcissist with only thoughts of himself. Even though she worked hard to save the marriage, it crumbled. He wasn't interested. Turns out he was cheating. With your story, I would like to see it start a little bit closer to the middle of it. I don't know, guys, what do you think?
I was going to say that.
Okay.
Just start with the story. Drop them right into the story. Don't give them a let me tell you a story. So story is really interesting because people, like, if you start a story, people automatically latch onto it. You don't need to really have a segue, especially I think in email. Is that what you were thinking, Deb?
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is so many old newspaper advertisements, like Gary Halbert style, does say, let me tell you a story. I don't have any of the data behind testing or anything like that. But it's funny how I've seen like 2 camps of people who are very much like, yeah, start out with like, let me tell you a story. And then the camp of people that are like, no, don't say that, just do the story. So anyway, just something that kind of hit me.
I say just do the story.
Yeah, I'd say just do the story too. Okay, so when her marriage ended, she was devastated. She was well into her 50s, single and emotionally wounded. She knew she didn't want to be alone forever, and it meant she'd have to starting again, but the idea terrified her. What if there was no good match for her? What if she met another guy like her ex? Being dangerously close to this market, I think there's another thing that you could hit on.
Yeah.
Depending upon how old they are, this may be their first experience. Dating today or now is vastly different than it was pre-internet websites. And there's a lot of fear, I think, that goes around it because people are much ruder on internet than they are like in real life. And there's the fear that you're meeting people. Are they axe murderers? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
The guys are laughing at me, I'm sure. Pete, you're not laughing at me, are you? No response. So I think you may be able to dig into a little bit deeper all of the fears and the insecurities about, number one, going into online dating, never having done it before.
Mhm.
Also, with the things have changed. It's not a comfortable thing. Previously it would be like either you met someone even if you met them at a bar, and I never did meet anyone at a bar, but you would see who their friends were, or someone would introduce you, or you would have some sort of context for who they are. And I think that not having that is more fearful, whereas the person who grew up with internet dating may not have the same trepidations, I guess.
Okay.
Jared, Pete, anything to add?
One thing that's worked out well for me, and it's not in dating, but it's writing for women who are 40, 45, 50, 55, in similar in fitness, is when you go to tell a story like this and you talk about Raquel, what I like to do is talk about her once and then say something like, then change change instead of saying like her or instead of in saying she, just talk like you're talking about them. So you use Raquel to introduce the story, but then you just talk like it's happening to them, to your prospect, and not to Raquel.
Okay. So you would change it to you instead of.
Not necessarily you. I mean, it would be like, just imagine a husband who's a narcissist who only thought of himself, and then you get just really descriptive. It's just like, working hard to, you might be working hard to save the marriage, but it crumbled, and it's still talking about Raquel, but it's using the frame of you to talk about the story. You'd have to play with it a little bit to do it. And I find it just gives a much better emotional response, especially, and it resonates with the people who like, oh my gosh, I get her. And even if they don't get every little thing about, they can understand her better, So I found that to be a successful strategy that I just try to use when I tell a story like this, and they're very effective stories, because people can feel it. So I just let them feel it, and it breaks a grammar rule, right? Like I'm going back and forth in perspectives, but it doesn't really matter if it's effective.
As long as you have no English teachers on the list, it'll be good. And even if you do, that's such a painful way to go through life. They're used to it.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Deb? I mean, do you think that that's something she could do here?
Yeah, I definitely think she could, and that would I think that would be very effective. So what if no one is a good match? Again, this is just changing the perspective a little bit. What if she got hurt again? The dating scene can be intimidating. I would like to see something more visceral than intimidating, right? Because intimidating is like, I don't feel anything with intimidating. So if you could bring some emotion into that, I think it would really help. And that's just a matter of changing the wording a little bit.
So like terrifying?
That's one. I mean, I think then part of this is just researching the language of your market.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been actively looking for
It would
anyone.
be something like, I mean, she was dragged kicking and screaming into the, and then use like a big, or you could use like a simile or a metaphor. That's what I'm thinking. That's probably where I would go for it. The other thing that I would do here is, instead of saying the dating scene can be intimidating, just say the dating scene is this, right? So instead of like, I feel like can be is a phrase that I use when I have to like make a non-specific statement specifically for compliance reasons. So,
Please,
so
governor.
when I have to be vague because I'm selling a product that makes a skirted claim, like, you might be able to lose 21 pounds in 21 days. You can lose up to 21 pounds. And I'm doing that as a copywriter because I can't be specific. That's when I say can be. So if you can be specific, which I think you can be as specific as possible. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now, swiping left or right. One thing that occurred to me with that is whether or not that reference is going to make sense to a person who isn't actively involved. I mean, do all of the dating apps swipe left or right? I thought it was just like one.
Yeah, I think it's just one.
And even at that, that's a dating app that I think is much more younger generation too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I like the picture you're trying to show, but I'm just not sure that would immediately make sense to the audience. And then sexting, guys, thoughts?
I don't.
I'm sure they understand the word.
I'm like, I'm in my 30s in the middle of what was the start of the sexting revolution, and I have never sexted anyone. So I can't imagine anyone older than me doing it. I don't know. I'm not part of that market. I would have to do
I have to admit, I have never sexted.
Right. So I would have to do more research, right? Like to determine if it's good or not. But I picture people younger than me doing it, and I'm in my 30s, right? So
yeah.
But I mean,
Well, I'll just plead the fifth.
Right. I mean, like, I never had, like, cell phones weren't a thing until, like, I was in college, right? People didn't, I mean,
Oh, my first cell phone, it was 95 cents a minute.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't afford to do that.
You didn't talk much.
How she got in debt from sexting.
But yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think I don't know if the market does it or not, right? So
yeah.
Hey, there is oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, go ahead.
There is an amazing Google Chrome plugin. If you really want to dig into forums and read stories from your target market.
Oh, cool.
It's called Google.
Is it the discussions one?
Yeah, Google Discussions.
So if I go here and
oh, you have it. I see it right there.
Yeah, dating for, let's say, older women for the sake of argument. And I go to discussions. So what this does is, wait, that was a really bad search because it's looking for men wanting to date older rich women, which may not necessarily be what we're looking for. Okay, guys.
Wait, Deb, I want to read something there.
What? Which one did you want to read?
Oh. My wife isn't rich enough.
Oh. But you know what, though, this does bring up another fear, and I'm not saying you have to put everything in this same email.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do, especially if you're coming out of you're widowed, because when you're widowed, you haven't divided the assets. So you have everything. And there's another financial fear that, you're going to attract someone who's just interested in you because you own a house and you have a little, whatever money you have.
Yeah.
So that's another fear that you can hit if the widow market is your market.
Mhm.
But in terms of this, how you get to, we'll do it offline, but what we'll do is we'll post the Chrome extension link to the discussions in the group after we're done here. So if you want to install that, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how it works is as soon as that's installed, you'll see that discussions tab when you Google
Yeah,
something.
so if I go here, well, I guess we're going to go to google.com. Okay, fine. We'll search something. Rain. So yeah, the discussions tab just hits right here.
Mhm. All right.
Okay,
And
so we'll
it
post.
only browses forums. So
All right. Let's see, that's not it.
yeah, that one, True Love at 61.
Yeah, so the menu bar goes above it sometimes. Okay, so what if he gets hurt again? She was overwhelmed and confused. I like the use of the quotes. This is good. I was completely lost in a world where I had no idea where to begin. I knew I needed guidance because I was entering the dating field and I hadn't really dated in my entire life. She tried using dating apps to meet men, but she didn't know where to find high quality men she was looking for. After a few unsuccessful attempts, she stopped using the apps and tried to meet men organically. I'm not quite sure what organically means.
Just out and about, like at the grocery store or something.
Use that as an example. Then, like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
Okay.
old-fashioned way. I'd call it the old-fashioned way.
yeah.
right.
All right.
I mean,
Now,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna go to the high quality men thing. Is
That's-
that
that's
the
fine.
fear for older people using dating apps, or is the fear for using dating apps that they're gonna meet like people who are totally lying and that the pictures don't represent who they are, and or is it really about like high quality? I think that's the thing to think about.
The reason I used high quality men is because both of these coaches that I'm working with, they say it all the time.
Oh, okay.
High quality men and blah blah blah. High quality men, blah blah blah. You don't want a loser. You want to find a high quality man.
I have to say that didn't stop me from reading. So I'd say high quality is okay. It's a good question, Jared.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's okay. She spent 7 years struggling to navigate the dating scene. If you could very concisely put some emotion to that would be really good.
Okay.
Before she came to me for help, but then her self-confidence was shot. She knew she'd have to be proactive if she wanted to meet someone special. Any thoughts?
I just agree with the emotion in that first sentence. Like you can dimensionalize that 7 years.
Okay.
Think of all the things that can go on in 7 years, and this person just spent 7 years navigating the dating scene without any results. Like that's awful, So
Mhm.
you can dimensionalize that and really put emotion on that.
I promised Rochelle I'd be with her every step of the way on her journey. On our coaching calls, I helped her overcome her fears, heal emotional wounds, and create a clear vision of the romance she was looking for. Rochelle found true love at 61. Do we need any other, say, mechanism to go from we talked on the phone and she found true love? That's more strong than create a clear vision of the romance she was looking for?
Like I asked her these 10 proprietary questions or whatever,
Okay.
like some sort of unique mechanism behind it, so that readers feel like the only way that they're going to achieve the same thing is if they go to her, that they won't be able to find this information anywhere else.
Okay.
Right. And I think part of this too is this is a group of people who grew up believing, the Cinderella fairy tale. I know that, that's not as widely held as previously or as in subsequent generations. So I think you need more here because they already have a clear vision of happy ever after.
Okay.
Now she's in the best relationship of her life. I would see if you could dimensionalize that as well. What does that look like? A guy named Jim, who's the exact opposite of her ex-husband, and that's sort of how you dimensionalize it. So instead of saying he's the exact opposite, show how he's the exact opposite.
Yeah, because you got to remember that people forget things quickly, especially when they're skimming. So it's like the exact opposite of her ex-husband. I don't even remember what her ex-husband was at this point. I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
It's a pretty long email.
Yeah.
That's neither good nor bad. It just is. And sometimes when something is a little bit longer, you have to recap things that you said earlier.
Okay.
That's actually a piece of advice that I just got from a promo that I'm writing, where I wrote something down in the close that was calling back to the upper body of it. And, the person who was chiefing it was like, you can't expect these people to remember it, especially because most of these people are just going to be skimming it. They're only going to be reading 20% of it. So if you use a phrase at the close that you used at the beginning, however many people that read that statement at the close, they're not even going to get the reference. I don't know, just something to think about whenever you're writing longer winded stuff.
All right. Do you want a Jim in your life now? I know that special man is out there for you and I want to help you find him. Right now I have a few Your Next Amazing Love Story breakthrough sessions available. Normally these calls cost $4.97, but for a limited time, I'm offering complimentary breakthrough sessions to a few women who are serious about getting their dating lives struck. I think I need to know what it is. I mean, you say it's $4.97, so I need to see some value there.
My question would be why the hell are you offering this $500 thing for free? I don't understand. I don't trust it. Are you just going to pitch me for, is this call, I'm going to get on the call and then it's just going to be, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this. That would be my question.
Okay.
You'll get clarity, figure out what has been holding you back from the life you imagined, learn what steps you need to turn your life around, find out the most powerful action you can take right away to see change. I only have 2 one-on-one spots available. I'm not sure that that's believable. Is she truly only offering 2 spots?
That's what she told me.
Okay. I mean, if she's truly only going to offer 2 spots, then that's fine. Sometimes people will include false scarcity. So if that's truly all that there is, then go, by all means, go with it.
You might even you could even do a candor thing and say, I only have 2 one-on-one spots available. So if you've been thinking about getting coaching, now is the time. And then be like, I know that may sound unbelievable, but whatever, address it, because that people might think that, especially when people are used to false scarcity at this point. And then one other thing that you could do is dimensionalize how quick it'll go. Instead of saying these sessions will go fast, you could say something like, and by the way, there are 1,387 people on this list, so you do the math yourself, how quickly, whatever.
I really like that angle. I would say, I just sent this email out to X number of people and I only have 2 spots and, somebody's going to respond. So why don't you just go ahead and click here and book your time? Something like that.
Okay.
I like that. The other thing I was thinking about this is make sure that they know it's free. So I see it says complimentary breakthrough session. Right now, right where Deb has it highlighted. I know that it says that, but sometimes you have to say it like a few times because people skim read these things. And it says it twice. It says complimentary twice, but I would just say, this is free. And just make sure that they know
Okay.
it's free, right? And use the word free. Complimentary is okay, but just put the word free in there somewhere. Normally it's this much. It's free. I've got 2 available to do for free. Just send it out to X number of people. And,
Okay, and then let's take a look at the close. These 2 calls are powerful because I only have 2 spots available. I want to make sure they go to only people who are ready for them. That's why you have to fill out the application to get on the call.
Yeah, I would. So the way I usually frame this sort of stuff is I tell them what's going to happen next. And it's just like people are afraid of the unknown, right? So I like that you've said that there's an application, but I would say something like, here's what's going to happen after you click the link below, to book your session. I have this thing that you're going to fill out, and here's the reason it exists. And then this is going to happen. And then you're going to schedule a time, and we're going to, whatever. I would lay it out specifically.
Okay.
Do you guys know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah,
you're
that,
putting
Reduce
You're
the
like-
fear of uncertainty. Yeah, the fear of the unknown. Yeah,
and also you're creating a picture of them going through the action you're asking
Right.
them to do so
Right.
that they feel more confident that they can do it and know what they're getting into.
Yep.
Which is, I think, what you just said.
exactly. Yeah.
I almost think about it as you're putting this very cut and dry process into a story form, and people think in stories. Like, that's how people remember things. So put everything you can into a story mode.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. Guys, I've got to duck out because I've got a client that wants to meet. They wanted to meet at 2, but they want to start a few minutes early.
Okay.
Oh, just fire them.
Yeah, right. No, I'm not gonna. this client, I'm not gonna fire.
You
So-
don't enjoy hanging out with us better?
No, it's not. You guys. Yeah.
Nothing
So nothing
See-
personal, but I'm
See
gonna
you,
take.
Pete.
I'm gonna take my retainer.
Thanks,
But
Pete.
I like this email in general. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
All
See you,
right.
Pete.
Thanks, Pete. All right, can't wait to talk to you. P.S. Imagine entering the dating world with clarity, confidence, and focus. Imagine meeting someone who loves you for you. Start making the dreams reality by applying for a breakthrough session today. I only have 2 one-on-one spots. Here's the link again. Thoughts, Jared?
I mean, I think it's fine. I think you can just like rephrasing stuff, right? And that just
Mhm.
again comes with editing.
Do you
Like,
have
if
any other? Go
Sorry,
ahead,
go
Jared.
No, I was just gonna say, like, start making these dreams a reality by applying for a break. For one of the 2 spots, for one,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, you can make that scarcity feel even more powerful.
Do you have any other questions, Loveland?
No, you gave me a lot to look at.
Cool. All right, then. If you don't have any other questions, then I will move you back to.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Hope this
You're
was
welcome.
helpful.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. And then let's look at John Robbs next. John, I'm going to go ahead and move you to a panelist. Hey, I see you. We can't hear you yet, though.
Can you hear me now?
We
Yep.
can hear you now, yes.
John, I already know. I haven't even looked at this, but I know I'm gonna have some critique about emotion in here
Is it about emotions?
for you.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at this at all. Can you
Now, my
ahead.
question would be, do you want us to skim all of these, or do you want us to focus in depth on one of them?
Whatever works for you is good.
what would be most helpful for you?
Well, actually, probably skimming them is probably
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about who the audience is for this, what the offer is, and how they're getting to this email?
So this is part of a welcome. It's kind of a welcome sequence of sorts. This is going to their list. To new people on the list. But I think these are like email 20 through whatever. This is where they're starting to send out, just directing people to their blog posts. So to their most popular blog posts.
Okay.
The audience is e-com, business owners, brand owners. So they basically run they have quite a big podcast, and then they run courses for e-com sellers through like a Facebook group kind of thing. So, but yeah, all they tasked me to do was they already had 8 or 9 emails that were directing people to their content. So they asked me to write the next 8 in that series.
Okay.
And this is a handful of them.
Perfect. Jared, you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, sure. So subject A, how to sell a white label company, or subject B, how to sell your baby. Obviously, the how to sell a white label company is straightforward. That may intrigue people. If that's something that they want to do, then I don't know the other 8, emails that have gone prior to this. So I don't know exactly like their frame of reference, but I can see why that would intrigue people. How to sell your baby. If you're going to use like the curiosity kind of shocking angle, then I would make it like a human interest line where you say why I sold my baby. Mm-hmm. So now you're phrasing it as a story, because how to sell your baby doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like why I sold my baby is not only starting a story, but it's starting like a controversial story that's very human interest, because people love that type of stuff. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Deb, anything before we move on?
I think so. One of the things that I was reading, I wish I would have copied it. It was an ad, and if it was like, if you read it more than one way, it was positive, and if you read it a different way, it was negative. I think how to sell your baby without a reference to what the baby is, from a literal perspective, the way the mind processes it unconsciously, it sort of brings up a negative emotion for me.
Yeah, that's very valid. And that's why I think you'll even correct that by changing it to why I sold my baby and making it. Because even if they do immediately, like, even if a person's first instinct is to like get pissed off at that, why I sold my baby, they'll open the email and start reading. So,
or if you put baby in quotes, then that would sort of change the dynamics for me. Yeah, you don't like it. Okay.
I say stick with the outrage.
Okay.
Stick with the controversy. Nah, I don't know. It's whatever you want to do, obviously. And it also comes down to client, the client voice and how they want to portray themselves. Like if it was my personal email, then I would not use the quotes. But if this client wants to stay more, if they don't have that personality, then you obviously want to stick to their personality.
Right.
Because if all the other subject lines are things like how to sell a white label company, and then all of a sudden you throw this like ridiculous, shocking headline in the middle, yeah, it would jolt people, but it may not even be what the audience wants to read. So just, everything in the grand scheme of things to think about. So, hey, first name, congratulations. You're having a baby during the worst year your business has ever had. is this like is this the narrator's story? Like they had a baby during the worst year?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would actually just start out with the story then. I don't know. I mean, the advice that Pete said earlier, where, he said mention Rochelle and then change it onto the reader. You could obviously do that, which is exactly what you're doing here. But me personally, I would just start with the story. I had a baby during the worst year my business has ever had. That pretty much summed up 2014 for me. My anxiety was already through the roof after a number of not so smart decisions, and the fact my business increasingly relied on Amazon for sales wasn't helping. So I decided right there, after 6 years of hard work building my first, I don't know why I was reading that as list, my first ecom baby from 0 to 7 figures a year in revenue, it was time to sell. But there were 2 not so small problems. I like the succinctness of the story in this. You're paying off the headline quickly. But there were 2 not so small problems. First, unless you want a bargain basement price, you don't sell your business during its worst financial year. And second, back in 2014, there was almost no information about how to sell an online business. Click here to find out what happened next. I would add something in there in between. It's kind of a very abrupt transition from that in second and then to click here to find out what happened next. Maybe I would put another cliffhanger in there that leads into the click here to find out what happened next. What that is specifically, I don't know, but it just feels super abrupt to me.
Okay.
And then
I agree. I think you also need to give me some insight into what's in it for me if I click on the link. So you've created the curiosity with click here to see what happens next. But what you haven't told me is, why do I care what happens next and why do I need to know? So I think if you could include that before the cliffhanger, that's going to give people more of an incentive to click on and then go read the blog.
In this story, did they actually sell their business for like a really good number during that worst financial year?
No, he sold it. He then built it back up for the next 2 years and sold it for I think it was like 867,000, something like that.
Okay, I was gonna say, because if he actually did that after just listing, like that would be a cool piece of information, but that's not the story. So let's, yeah, so I don't know what that transition would be, but something to think about.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. It's funny because when you read it, I'm like, wow, that's really abrupt. But when I read it in my head, I'm like, this is great.
Oh man.
Do you have the computer read it back to you?
Right. And then have nightmares that there's a robot going to kill me.
Yeah, man, reading things out loud will change your view of your writing so much after the first draft.
That is just, I wish I had known that in college. It does make such a difference. But also I have on the MacBook Pro, they have the voice built in. I don't know if they have it on PCs. Also hearing it read back to you as well, I find that helps a lot.
Yeah. I haven't tried that actually.
And Jared, does the PC have anything like that?
I don't know. I use a Google Chromebook. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm Mac all the way, so
Oh, you are? Okay. I switched it from Alex to a different person, but you can play around with the voices and the settings.
I want like a George Clooney voice.
I'm afraid they don't have like a George Clooney voice.
Maybe there's an opportunity for us. We could start opening the product.
Deb, can you go up to the PS section there? Just one little thing. Keep an eye out on my next email, and I'll tell you about the $13 an hour career decision I made after I cashed out. That sounds like a dumb decision. So I might even like keep an eye out for my next email, and I'll tell you about the stupid $13 an hour career decision I made after I cashed out. And why you'll never want to make the same mistake or whatever. I don't know, something like that. Build more emotion into it, because that does sound like a really dumb decision.
Okay. Next email subject from 867,000 to $13 an hour. Is that, I think you might want to specify that's per year. I don't think they were making
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
because if they were making that much in an hour,
That's Jeff Bezos' money.
yeah.
Hey, Deb, do you mind taking over for a minute? I just have to hit the bathroom real quick.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, First Name. Today I wanted to tell you a story about life after a seven-figure e-commerce company. Some people buy Lamborghinis and let the world know via Facebook ads, but not this Canadian. Oh no, I got a job as a picker at a Vancouver Amazon FBA warehouse for a whopping $13 an hour. Check out how this article to find out what the hell I was thinking, why it only lasted 4 days. What I'm not seeing here is, I mean, that's great that the person went to work for $13 an hour. I still, again, I want to know, what's in it for me for clicking to continue reading the article? And do you know what that is? Is it just like a story, like a biographical story, or is there some useful information in there?
Oh man, I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh man, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing though, because people want to know what's in it for them. And so what's the takeaway they get from reading the article? And if you include it in here, people will be much more likely to click on it.
Okay.
Find out why I discovered blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think I have a tendency of doing that where I'm like, I take curiosity to mean almost like it's like, don't give anything away. Just try and.
Curiosity is good, but at the same time, you have to pay it off, because when you don't pay it off, that's when people start to make allegations of hype. One of the things that David Garfinkel says is that if you can prove it, it's not hype, right? So when you're creating curiosity, and I'm not saying give away the farm and tell everything, but you drew them in with the curiosity. Now you want to take them someplace else. You need to pay off why this curiosity is worth their time.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, because the reality is, like, when they talk about clickbait headlines, the headlines are really good, right? And if the article delivered what they promised, nobody would complain. But the problem is, you come in off this big headline, and when you get to wherever they take you, it's nothing about that.
Yeah.
So let's look at the next one. How to kill your Amazon SEO ranking. Stolen Amazon A9 algorithm secrets. Would the audience know what the A9 algorithm secrets are?
Yeah.
Because if they do, that's
a good one.
A really good headline.
Oh, well, I guess you get lucky sometimes. Yeah, everyone who sells on Amazon, which is their audience, basically, everyone knows what the A9 algorithm is.
Okay.
And the fact that Amazon keep a very close, like they don't tell anyone about it, basically.
Man, I would open that email even if I wasn't the market. Because like algorithm is, just in general, it's such a hot topic nowadays, especially with like YouTube censorship and Twitter censorship. So it goes outside of just these people selling things. The algorithm is being talked about on like every major platform right now. So it's a super hot topic. So that even lends credibility just because it's being talked about in other fashions outside of this world. Yeah, great headline. That's all
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
This one, I like this one. This is really good.
Have you read the James Patterson novel about Chinese spies that steal and sell Amazon's A9? Yeah, me either. But in true life is stranger than fiction, I did write an article thanks to an Amazon employee in China doing exactly that, and you'll discover one common mistake that will kill your SEO ranking: the little known 30-day haul pass, and how you can use it to increase new product sales even if the keywords are super competitive. The cheat to instantly see if your product's indexing for a keyword. You don't have to be in your seller account, much more. Man, great bullets. This is really solid email.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. And so earlier when I was talking about paying off what the visitor gets, I mean, you did this fantastically right here in this one with these bullets.
Right. Yeah, now that makes that makes sense. I kind of didn't want to like, wow, I just used so many Californian words in this string then.
What's wrong with California?
I didn't want to be formulaic and like do all of the emails the same.
Right.
You know, I mean,
As you shouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good thing to think about with the like what's in it for me. I guess even invoking kind of like one bullet point ish kind of thing in each, at least one in each email, right?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, sign up. Go on to millennialmoneyman.com. The theme of just like to make sure you're on the. Let me just make sure that I'm, because there's Millennial Money Man and millennialmoney.com. Because I wrote for Millennial Money. Yeah, millennialmoney.com is the one that I wrote for. So Millennial Money Man. Sign up for their email list because he does a lot of this stuff. Like he writes a lot of blog posts and then sends emails pushing people to the blog posts. And he does a tremendous job at it. So you'll see exactly like how he's using story to push people, you know, to create that that desire to go and read the blog post. So
cool, that's good. Thank you.
And I know that they perform well. So that's the other thing is I'm sure you can find a bunch of people that are using this strategy, but this guy is actually having them perform really well.
Okay, anything else with this one?
Nothing from me.
We should stop. We should stop now, right? Because it's just downhill from this.
Wait, you said something. Does California have a specific language?
Well, when I said like and sort of and whatever, I used 3 words in a row that didn't really make sense together. That's very California.
You know I'm in California, right?
Okay, it's very LA.
I'm just having fun with you.
It's very LA, let's put it that way.
It's very what?
It's very Los Angeles.
Oh yes, I'm in Northern California, so that's okay.
Right, you're in the refined part of...
Exactly. Yes. All right. Let's see. Key to success or don't have sucky products.
I like the key to success better because don't have sucky products doesn't mean there's no reason to open the email. Like I would see that subject line and be like, yeah, you're right. And that's it. Or you could even, like, if you did want to take that angle, there's ways that you could use that do create that curiosity. The deeper seated reason why you should never put out a sucky product or something. Something along the lines that makes people think that there's more to just the surface level agreement to your statement. Everybody knows that they shouldn't have sucky products. Like that's not nobody's going to read that and think like, I guess I should, put out better products because he's right. I shouldn't have sucky products. Like if people are putting out sucky products, they're doing it because they're focused on the money, which isn't going to change.
Right.
I think with something like that, like people already know and accept, you could do more along the lines of a blind bullet style, which this is a headline, not a bullet. But instead of saying, don't have sucky products, you talk about the result having sucky products delivers. So how not to whatever having sucky products would do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. You want people to like think that they're missing something, that, oh shit, like shoot, maybe I have sucky products.
Yeah. Hey, Jared, can you take over for just a second?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the number one secret to having a successful e-commerce business. It isn't a cute logo, it isn't a shiny website, and it certainly isn't paying an influencer to pretend they use your product so all their followers are like, wow, they totally just posted a picture of the super widget 6000. Small thing, but if you're going to speak in the voice of somebody, I always use quotations just so that it doesn't feel like a non sequitur. I don't know what I'm looking for here, but I would put quotations around the wow and the 6000. Or yeah. No, the number one secret is, drumroll, having great products. So if you're going to build all of this up to that point, having great products, which is, I'm not going to say it's a lackluster, it's not like I'm saying it's a lackluster reveal. What I'm saying is that if you are going to do this build up to saying something that people kind of intrinsically know already, then the subject line should be blind, right? Because you really need to create that curiosity around having this build up. It's like in supplement copy. In supplement copy, everything's been said before. And if you're writing about a certain ingredient that's been around for 50 years, then you have to change it somehow. You have to make it sexier. You have to make it more curiosity driven. So let's say I'm writing about, I'm trying to think of some substance that's been around for a long time, but let's say everybody knows about vitamin C, right? So instead of saying vitamin C, I would instead reframe it to like, maybe I would look for its scientific name and I would call it by that. So when I reveal it, I'm not revealing vitamin C, I'm revealing this thing that somebody hasn't heard of before instead. So maybe you can, reframe having great products to be something sexier, is what I'm getting at. Or if you do want to keep having great products, then stick with subject line A, the key to success. And don't go sucky products route, because you're kind of already giving away what you're building at there.
Right.
I know it sounds obvious, but it's the only way to build a successful e-commerce business, because if your products suck, no matter how good your marketing is or how shiny your website is, eventually you'll be found out, and that's when people stop buying from you. So how do you find great products? One thing you could do there is include an example. Like even if you included like 2 lines of go out and find a company that put out a crappy product. I'm sure you've seen all this stuff about Theranos.
The blood people.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm using that as an example. Like go and find an example of an e-commerce business that did put out crappy products and was found out, and you can frame, in a very small section, like this is the consequences. So you're providing real proof that this does happen. And that's when people stop buying from you, just like this company. So how do you find great products? Check out our free mega guide, How to Find the Perfect Product to Import from China and Sell Online. In it, you'll discover predictors to know if your product will be a failure or a success, how to research your competitors, what type of sales volume you should look for in a product. Once you've chosen a product, how to stand apart from the competition, and much more.
I told you it was downhill from here, didn't I?
No, I think that the bullets are good. I think that you can make them stronger by adding like a 1-2 punch, as John Carlton would put it. So you have predictors to know if your product will be a failure or a success. And then you could put, Deborah, you back?
Yes, I am.
Do you know what I'm getting at? Can you think of anything as an example of what I'm saying? Like, I think the bullets are good. They could just be, again, more emotional driven.
Or more dimensionalized. So predictors
Yeah,
to
there
know
we
if your
go.
product would be a failure or success. If we take it a step further, what does that mean to me?
So you never have, so you never waste money on a new product launch again.
Okay.
Something like that.
Right. And what helps me getting to the next level is I add so that. So how to research your competitors so that, and then add, whatever comes in. And you're not necessarily going to write it so that. I use so that as a way to get my mind thinking of different possibilities. So it just makes it a little bit, takes it just a step further.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. And last one here. Are you using Alibaba the wrong way? This could save you thousands. Yeah, subject B all the way.
I like subject B all the way too. Yeah.
The one thing that you could do to make it more specific and therefore more curiosity based is if you have a story in here or something, I don't know. Maybe of somebody who, if this guy switched out, I'm having a hard time here because I don't know the full story behind this and I don't know this guy's history. But if you can add a specific number in there, like maybe this guy ended up saving $5,400 in 2 months by, using this new way of using Alibaba, you could put that in there. This is how I saved $5,400 using Alibaba the correct way. So I think the subject is fine, but you can make it more powerful by if you can add a specific in there. Are you using Alibaba the wrong way? After years of working with importers, I'm still surprised how many people are. Statistically, you are probably using Alibaba the wrong way. I don't know, something you could reframe the first sentence as that. Because I don't know if I'm using Alibaba the wrong way. So you might as well just call it out like it is. You're probably doing this. To find out, click here to check out this in-depth multi-part series. In it, you'll discover why Alibaba suppliers aren't responding to you, how to send money to suppliers the right way, the wrong way could end up costing you thousands. All right, see there's a good 1-2 punch. If you said how to send money to suppliers the right way, and you just left it at that, then you're missing the emotional benefit or emotional turmoil that they'll experience. And so then right after you have that, that jab that comes after the hook, or the hook that comes after the jab. How to tell if suppliers are the actual factory or just middlemen trying to make an extra dollar off of you, and much more. I like that third bullet because in this world, obviously you're looking to maximize profit. And one way to do that is to go straight to the supplier. So I like that third bullet.
Agreed. That's a solid bullet.
P.S. If you found the articles I've been sharing with you for the past few days valuable and are serious about growing your e-commerce business to 6 figures, 7 figures, or beyond, keep an eye out for my email in the next few days. Add more specificity there to what they're going to learn in said email.
The,
Like my number one strategy.
the next email, oh God, the next email in the sequence is actually a sales email where they're like selling the course.
Okay.
Yeah, hence, so they just asked me to do this, so I kind of had to like work around what, like ideally I would have done more of a build-up sequence to actually selling the thing, but
Yeah, I think it's fine.
They're not interested in doing that at the moment. So
one thing that you could do is just think about what's the main promise. What's the tangible promise behind the course? And just use that.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Nice job with these. John, do you have any questions or anything else you could want to know about?
No. Thanks for you taking the time to do this. It's really, really helpful.
No problem. We like
Absolutely.
it. All right, very good. So I think we have our final series. It is from Jenny. It doesn't look like Jenny is on. So in her submission, what she said is, it's a short indoctrination sequence to sell life coaching sessions. It's for people who struggle to meet important life goals and whose health and happiness is suffering because of it. And what she's looking for, I think the sequence is a bit disjointed. I struggle to make it work with the client, with what the client has. I think I need more dynamic wording in places. Okay. So where is it? That one, I'll just open it again.
It looks like there are two.
Yeah, the first one was a thing she submitted by mistake.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the second one she didn't put in all the information again, but when I mentioned that it was the wrong link, she submitted it again.
How many emails are we looking
So
at?
there
Just
is,
before we get into it.
I think there's 6, so I think we're going to need to go high level.
Yeah.
And what I think would be the most help here for her, I read through them earlier, is sort of the transition from the downloading the lead magnet to making the appointment, or to asking for them to schedule a call. Okay, so the first email is your free optimal health video. So I'm assuming they've opted into the landing page. This is the first email that they get.
Which is a fine subject line, obviously, if that's telling them what they just signed up, or here's what you just signed up for.
Welcome to Body Mind Health. This is Angela Pock here to say hello and thank you for claiming your free optimal health video course. One of the things that I think might help, and you may not necessarily need to do this at this point, you could do a little bit lower, but people are forgetful. So I came from a landing page. I gave you my information because whatever you were offering solved some sort of need I had. I'm now here. I'm opening up your email. Who are you again? Why should I listen to? And it's like, I know you established that previously, but it's like people don't remember.
Yeah, it's absolutely. People are very, very short-minded.
Okay, so thank you for claiming your free video course. We'll do this together, okay? I'm not sure what that means. I mean, what does she mean by we'll do this together? Is it you can ask me questions? Is it the video is going to help you achieve something? I'm not quite sure what that means.
I think it's a what does Gary Bencivenga call it? Where you openly address what your intentions are, right? Where you make your statement of this is why I do it, right? And so I think it could be rephrased better, because what I think it's saying is, I want to help you do this. That's why I'm giving you this course, right? That's why I'm giving you this free course. So I think it could be rephrased better to like, and thank you for claiming your free optimal health video course. I'm giving this away for free because I insert intention, insert, driving motivation. So if you
Yeah.
ever feel like life has taken a toll, you're not alone. As a busy mom, even busier small business owner, I rely on the foundation contained in this short course every single day. I like the dimensionalization here.
Yeah.
Like this is stuff that I use. The Optimal Health course reveals the top 9 lifestyle choices that improve your health and relationships, which translates to increased satisfaction with life. And yes, it's only one short course, but it's amazing what a difference these choices make in my everyday life, even compared to the health benefits from changes in diet alone. I think it's a fine opening email.
Yeah, it is. I think everything here is fine. So I'm assuming this link is the same. No, this would be the same, but I think the links are okay. Okay, second email. So we're introducing the unique selling proposition of the product. You want to read it, Jared?
Yeah, so subject, what did you think? In terms of subject line, I think that's fine. I might say like, tell it to me straight, ... or something like that, just to build some more like emotion into the subject line. Or give a reason. So what did you think? My immediate thought is, what did you think of the course, right? That I just sent you. And probably most people aren't going to be going through the course on the first day. So if you want them to come into this email, again, you might have to make it a little more emotional, something like that. Anyway, I don't know. Thoughts on that? Quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I think it might be enough to get them to open the email.
Okay.
So I think that could be okay.
It's true. Those self-help books gathering dust on your shelf. Boil them down to some simple lifestyle changes and be on your way to living happier and healthier in less than the time it takes to watch a movie. All you have to do is use these 9 secrets from the Blue Zone. Secrets from the Blue Zone. When it comes to increasing the health of both your body and your relationships, using these basic principles can give a person up to 7 more good years of life than our typical habits, such as crash dieting or vacationing. I don't like the word vacationing because you're almost painting vacationing in a bad light. And that probably doesn't sit well with people.
Yeah, I would maybe that's true, because I thought unless she's under the perception that vacationing is bad, is she thinking that when you go on vacation, you like eat your way across wherever you're going?
And like, even if that's 100% true, you have to focus on the market. And the market, I am sure, like I can say without a doubt, without even knowing this market, that nobody is going to have a negative view of vacationing.
Right.
That's like the last bastion of freedom and hope for people who work desk jobs,
Right.
So yeah, a small thing there, but it could stop somebody. Like, it's powerful enough that it could stop them from listening to you at this point. If you haven't already, take a few minutes to watch the first couple lessons in the Optimal Health course I sent to your course library yesterday. It's an excellent way to learn the 9 lifestyle choices that could begin to reduce your risk of preventable diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and cancer in as little as 3 weeks. That's all fine because this is a info product, so you're fine mentioning diseases. However, you may, I don't know this for sure, Deb, but sources, like if they talk about this in the blog post, they probably need sources, right?
I mean, there's the difference
or not, because it's not selling something.
I would say most people probably don't. If you're running your copy through a compliance department, they're going to probably want a source. However, I have seen compliance departments want a source that it was cloudy on Tuesday, April 4th, 1972.
Yeah, that's very true.
So and in the email, you don't want to really take them out of it. So I probably wouldn't put in a source.
Oh, I don't mean for email. My brain is thinking immediately to the next step for the prospect and for safety of this customer,
Right.
because as the copywriter, this is stuff that you do want to think about.
Right.
Obviously a customer can't pay you if they get shut down by the FTC.
That is true.
So,
I looked at the course, though. It doesn't look like they're providing specific advice related to these things. It's more overall general health and well-being advice. So I think it's okay.
Okay. After you've checked out the Optimal Health course, make sure you click the link below to learn about the #1 key to adding years to your life. I wouldn't put this link in there because now you're giving this person 2 things to do, and they're probably not going to do either then.
So I don't see where the link goes. So if the link also takes you to the Optimal Health course, could be okay. If it's a different link, then I would want to take them someplace else.
Yeah, because my thought process is here. It says after you've checked out the Optimal Health course, then go.
Okay.
Here.
Then yeah, no, we don't want 2 calls to action.
Yeah.
The stories I could tell about 2 calls to action.
And I'm sure they're all bad.
It has a 0% opt-in rate. We strongly recommended against 2 calls to action. Well, let's see. What if it might work? We want to try it.
The only person who can get away with 2 calls to action somehow is Andre Chaperone. Man, he can send people to 500 different websites and still keep them.
And here's the reason why. He has created an addiction to him and to his stories and reading his emails. Yep. That people always come back. It's sort of like the talk show radio approach, that it's the infotainment. You always want more.
Yeah. But the thing to think about here, not for you, Deb, but for anybody watching this and listening to this afterwards, is just because he's more of the exception to the rule rather than the rule itself. So stick to 1 call to action. Stick to pushing people to 1 thing. Just because somebody can get away with it. Andre has been building his list and building his readers for a long, long time. And they're at a totally different awareness level than somebody who's just opting into a list for somebody.
What you could do to make this more powerful is there something in the video course that would provide this promise and say, in this course, you will learn, and give some bullets?
Yeah. It'd be a great place for bullets.
So no excuses. You can watch a lesson or 2 in a 10-minute break. Angela, P.S. I also do life coaching using Blue Zone Secrets. I have no idea what Blue Zone Secrets is. I don't know if the target audience would. Jared, have you ever heard of that?
No, I mean, the call to action earlier in it talks about Blue Zone Secrets, which I think has to do with the Optimal Health course. I would just cut this PS. Like, totally.
I'm Googling it to see if I can find anything on Blue Zone Secrets. I'm not finding anything.
Like, if you're going to introduce life coaching using Blue Zone Secrets, you're going to need an email that, without a sales letter, you would need an email that describes what Blue Zone Secrets are and then has the call to action for life coaching. Because unless this market understands what Blue Zone Secrets is, this PS means nothing to them.
Right. So let's go to the next email. So this is value plus fit pitch full program. So this is kind of what you just said, Jared.
Yeah. Coaching affects quality of life. Same thing that I said to Rob earlier. This subject line is like, yes, okay, great. Now I can move on with my life. Like, there's no reason to open the email after reading that statement. It's just, it is a statement that is true, or that the market probably believes is true. So they'll read it and think, great, or okay, yep, that's right, and then not open it. So what you want to do is reframe it. Like
Jared, I don't know if you can hear me. I've just lost audio.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
So
All right.
I was talking about the subject line and how it's just kind of this statement that the reader may agree with, but it's not going to push them into the email itself.
Right. And I think the way you make it something that will push them into the email is either you do curiosity or some sort of controversy or some sort of intriguing fact, something along those lines. So you can start with coaching affects quality of life. And so you can further dimensionalize it and then try to add more curiosity to it, I think.
Yeah. I mean, a really, really quick example that is not even good, but the absolute bare bones simplest way to increase the curiosity is how to, or how. So if the subject line said how coaching affects quality of life, that's more curiosity based than just saying coaching affects quality of life. So
right.
Still not a good subject line, but would probably increase readership more than this.
Right.
Just with that simple word. If there was a way to make simple changes that improve your mood, increase your energy, and maintain a better quality of life, would you try it out? Well, yeah, of course you would. Imagine what it's like to finally make progress towards those important goals, significant progress, and in a few short weeks, wake up feeling confident that you are going to meet them with no setbacks, no guilt trips, and without having to do it all alone. That's what life coaching is all about. Watch this video to get a taste of what it's like. Hope you liked the video. I had fun making it for you. If you enjoyed the course in today's short video, consider joining me for my signature coaching package, 9 weeks working together on goals of your choice.
We have 2 calls to action.
Yes. And not only that, I would totally separate this life coaching video from the offer, because before they even watch the video, they're going to continue reading. Like, nobody's going to hit the video, click it, and then come back to read the rest. You know what I'm saying? They're going to read the full email, and if they're interested in watching the video, then they'll go click it. However, you're giving away the fact that you're trying to sell something, which isn't bad, but what I would think as the reader is, so I see that you're trying to sell me something now. Now I'm automatically going to think that this video is just a pitch fest or something like that. Just because now I have context that you are trying to sell me something. So what's the point of watching the video, because you're just going to try and sell me on that? So I would separate the emails, and instead, if you're going to have life coaching, a call to action for one-on-one life coaching, I would just put it in the PS and say, in the next email, I'll show you how you could work with me one-on-one, just like, and then a testimonial or something did. And this is I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That makes sense. Another thing too, and just when you do this, in this area here, you're saying I'm offering it for $995. The problem with revealing price before you tell somebody what it is they're making a decision whether this is something they want before they know what it is.
Yes.
So at this point in your series, I would not bring the price in. You could say something about, depending on how you restructure the email, if you do, you could say something about a special promotion, but I don't think at this point you want to reveal what the price is because I don't know what the offer is. I don't know what I get from the offer, and the more compelling it is, the more willing I'd be to entertain spending $995. Not knowing what it is, I'm like, what is this? I don't know, So I think the price reveal here is too soon.
Yeah. The only way that you could get away with offering the price right now is if this personality is very, very well known in general. Like, and I'll use Pete's example of Tony Robbins. Like if Tony Robbins sent out an email saying, I'm offering 12 personalized coaching sessions for $9.95. Well, he'd probably get a metric, shit ton of orders on that. But unless your person is as big as Tony Robbins, you need to build this value before you're dropping the price.
Well, I also think you need to look at where we are in the relationship too, because 2 emails ago, we were thanking him for joining our mailing list.
Yeah, exactly.
So something like that, like with Mike, I mean, if he says he's going to open up something new, even if he does reveal the price, I happen to find myself a super buyer. And so chances are good, I would buy it regardless of whatever it is.
Yes. Yeah. And so I didn't mean to make it like she would have to be, or this person, Angela would have to be as big as Tony Robbins, but she has to be as big as Tony Robbins to her audience.
Right.
Like Mike is as big as Tony Robbins to all of us in the No Pants Project.
Right.
World. So yeah, just rephrase that thought.
Okay. Next email, offer proof, counter objections. Here's the evidence. I think we need more curiosity here. I don't know the evidence of what.
Yeah. As I skim this, I'm thinking of like, you could maybe use the subject line, the Mayo Clinic proven way to decrease stress and depression. Something like that. And then you're basically building in that life coaching is the way to achieve that. That's what I would do, I guess. I
think before you get to this email, so when we came up here, we're saying, okay, here's a video. Now, we didn't watch this video, so we don't know if that was like a sales video. If it was a sales video, this may not be as applicable as what I'm saying, but I still think this is too soon to be countering objections because we haven't built up any desire for the product. So when you look at what Mike calls, ADA with a C, so attention, we got their attention by having them download the lead magnet. We created some interest. At this point, we don't have enough desire built. So before we can start countering objections, we really need to build up the desire so that it's something they want. Any thoughts, Jared?
No, I agree.
So I think what you could do, if you could put an email in between here to help build some more desire, I think that would be good. As far as, so in this, you say your alarms are all going off. I get it. We hear warnings about new scams every time. I don't want to invite them to think about scams.
No.
I think what I want to do is invite them to think about whether or not this will work for me. Because one objection people might have is if this is a scam, but more commonly the bigger objection people have is, yes, that looks great, I want it, and then it leads to, but will this work for me? And so I think that would be a more powerful objection to try to overcome than whether or not it's a scam.
Yeah, and I think the other part of that is just because something doesn't work for everybody doesn't mean it's a scam. And I think people understand that. So people may have tried everything and they keep trying things because, you know, things don't, all of this stuff doesn't work for them. So they're on this continuous journey of hope that the next thing will work for them. So I would stay away from the word scam and focus more on the feeling that nothing they've tried before is working. But now you have something that will, and
Right.
here's proof behind it.
Also, if you had any testimonials, I think that would be fantastic. So if you had a story about somebody who's used this program and got some sort of measurable result, and you could talk about in this in the email, I think that would be really effective.
Yeah, I think this needs testimonials. I don't know the hyperness of the buyer, but any average buyer that's not a bleeding neck buyer is probably going to want to see testimonials before they're dropping $1,000 on a life coach, because it's at, you know, if you think of the hierarchy of needs, a life coach is very much on the top end of that. It's like you only hire a life coach if kind of everything else is going right in your life. I mean, yeah, you might be depressed and you might be sad and you might have all these negative emotions, but you're probably not going to drop $1,000 on a life coach until you have that excess amount of money to drop. You have, you know, a job and you have the time and, you know, all this other stuff you kind of have to have before thinking like, yeah, let me drop $1,000 on a life coach. But you may be more persuaded to do that if you see these amazing results from a bunch of other people, thereby putting more emphasis in your own life on fixing the depression or, you know, curing the depression and all this stuff. I don't know. Did that make any sense? Because that was just kind of a ramble.
Yeah, no, it did. Yeah, it did. I see what you're saying. And then I think this is going to be an abrupt downsell, because a lot of people, not everybody processes their email every day. What a lot of people do is they go through and work with the urgent stuff, and then, you know, they get to the other stuff maybe on the weekend or something. And so this is a really abrupt transition to the downsell.
Yeah, it feels really needy, right? Like you're going to buy a car and they're like, okay, the car is $22,000. And then you start walking out and they're like, well, wait a second, we'll drop the price.
Yeah, so I don't know if your client has the budget for additional emails. If that were the case, I think it would really help this a lot to really first build the desire for the product. Secondly, an email or two that shows testimonials so we can establish proof. And then probably one or more offers to buy it before you get to the downsell. Because I think this is just too abrupt to send. On Thursday, here's the offer. On Friday, okay, you didn't want the offer, here's a downsell. It's just way too abrupt.
Yeah.
So, was she there? No, it was John and Rob there. Okay. All right. So any other thoughts on this?
No, I think just focus on, you know, even if they don't have the budget to add more emails, I think you can still add a lot of this stuff in and make these changes, like keeping one call to action per email and things like that. And honestly, if this were me and they didn't have the budget to add more emails, I might just add more emails gratis, because at the end of the day, I want my client to get results, because that reflects on me.
Right.
So I may just, like, if they just genuinely don't have the budget, I would probably add a couple more emails just on my own to include all the stuff that I want to, so that their funnel has the best chance of working.
Right. That makes sense. I agree. All right. Let me just take a quick check and make sure we don't have any questions in the Facebook. And if we don't, then I think we'll wrap up the session for today. Thank you very much to everybody who submitted copy. We hope this was helpful, and we will do another one of these next month.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. And
Thanks.
yeah, we'll see you guys around.
All right.